I think the Lakers need a fresh start because they're not contenders. But I hate the fact that they have made him and Vogel scapegoats. This guy, man, I admire Russell Westbrook. They are taking his entire joy out of basketball, and it pisses me off.
First off, I want to give a major shout out to Charles Barkley for signing that massive contract with TNT. That is literally legendary stuff right there. With that out of the way, I have to say that I completely agree with what he said about Russell Westbrook. Chuck says some really dumb things, but when he hits, he knocks it out of the park, and so far he's been completely owning the Russell Westbrook situation. If you watch Russell Westbrook play right now, you can tell that he's not having fun. And I know basketball isn't all about fun. At the end of the day, this is also a job, but a lot of players, a lot of people, if they enjoy what they're doing, they're going to work harder and they're going to be more productive. Throughout Westbrook's career, he's had his share of faults, but he's been one of those guys that thrives off of emotion, that thrives off of fire, that thrives off of confidence. Right now, Russ doesn't look confident to me at all. He looks broken in essence. And for the Los Angeles Lakers, that's terrible. And for Russell Westbrook, that's terrible. What I'm trying to say is there's no winning in this situation for either sides. Westbrook's former teammate, Paul George, has taken note of Russell Westbrook not looking like himself, and this is what he had to say. I'm always a huge Westbrook supporter. I won't undermine the great moments we had in Oklahoma. He was tremendous for my career. Honestly, I don't get the shade or the hate or the stuff that's thrown at him. He's one of the best players to ever play the game. It's hard when you've got the pressure they're putting on him here. Quite frankly, it's not the team it's not geared for him with the roster that they have as well. Like, it's gotta work both ways. He was very easily a 30, 10, and 10 guy when he had the keys to a team. We can't forget about that. For me, I just want him to keep having that joy, keep having that excitement, that fun. That's what makes him special. The fact that he can do that on a nightly basis, I hate to see that it doesn't look like it's there for him. But hopefully in the end, it works out in his favor. In the Lakers' loss to the Los Angeles Clippers, Russell Westbrook was very bad offensively. He was 0 of 11 from the field and 0 of 6 from the three-point line. According to ESPN Stats and Info, this was the fourth time in his career that he failed to make a field goal, and the first since going 0 for 3 in 2016 against Dallas, where he would be ejected in the second quarter. As bad as Russ was offensively against the Clippers, I did think that he had one of his better defensive games. He was more than competent on ball, and he came up with 5 steals. Westbrook's awkward fit with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers has led some people to believe that Russell Westbrook would be best suited coming off the bench. Well, the Lakers tried this in their preseason finale, and in their preseason finale, Russell Westbrook would go on to get hurt. And then he'd pretty much go on to blame his injury on coming off of the bench. To quote Westbrook, "I've been doing the same thing for 14 years straight. Honestly, I don't even know what to do pregame. Being honest, I was just trying to figure out how to stay warm and loose. That's something I just wasn't accustomed to." This is going to sound bonkers, and I wanted to keep this one to myself, but honestly, I kind of see where he was coming from with this. Starters have the luxury of warming up and coming into the game loose. I can understand why coming off of the bench would be a different experience. Now, should he have been prepared for anything at this point in his career? Yes. And should he have said something like this? Probably not. If I was Westbrook at this point, I'd pull a Marshawn Lynch and basically say, "I'm just here so I don't get fined." There were quite a few people that didn't like the comments that Russ had on his injury. I guess we could go ahead and put Darvin Ham in that camp too.
The Lakers, myself, my staff, we in no way, shape, or form will ever put anybody, a player, an employee, in harm's way, be it physically, mentally, spiritually. We don't stand for that. We're not about that. That's not who we are. Second of all, Russ and I discussed what was out there. Brief discussion. We moved on. We got understanding. And again, as the coach of this team, my staff and I, we're going to do what's best for our team to be as successful as we can be. And I'll just leave it at that.
In the comments below, I want to know what you guys think that Ham said to Russ. He said the discussion was brief, so maybe this whole thing really was light and they just moved past it. Regardless of what was said, I think it's pretty clear that despite reports that have stated otherwise, that Russ just isn't comfortable coming off of the bench. As a matter of fact, Richard Jefferson takes things a step further and says that Russell Westbrook was trying to send a message with all of this.
Message. He was sending a message that if you guys try and do this, this is what's going to go down. Like, oh, my hamstrings are. If I'm not starting and I'm probable, then I won't be there to start the season. And then it becomes this distraction. Then all of a sudden the ball starts to move a little bit faster than everyone thinks. But this was a message. That's all it was. And then he sends another message. No different than what we talked about last season at the end of the year. Oh, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know. You're a professional. Be a professional. Figure it out. Our job is not to start you and sacrifice our team and everything because you can't figure it out. I don't think it's fair to Russ because Russ doesn't have the things around him that he needs to succeed. I talked about that earlier, but ultimately this is a message, and it's whether or not he's going to get it, right? They tried to have him come off the bench, and then Frank Vogel's gone. We're going to figure this out. Now the new coach is like, well, what do we think about bringing you off the bench? My hamstring hurts, blah, blah, blah. That's not going to be, I don't even know what to do.
What sucks is I feel like I've seen this story before and I know how it ends. Would Russ coming off of the bench solve all of the Lakers' problems? Of course not. But is it something at this point that's worth trying if you're not trying to trade him at this moment? I'd have to say yes, even if he starts playing well. The dim reality for the Lakers is that their problems run so much deeper than just Russell Westbrook. I said this in my last Russell Westbrook video, and I will say it again until he gets traded. Hold on guys, I have another Charles Barkley clip for this exact moment. I couldn't have said it better myself, Chuck.
Last year and this year, what they're putting around LeBron is an embarrassment. Last year they put all them geezers around him, and what they got out there around him right now, somebody is not doing their job in LA, period.
What's so funny about all of this to me is the fact that Rob Pelinka just got an extension. Don't get me wrong, Rob Pelinka helped to bring a ring to Los Angeles, but what has he done since then to warrant getting an extension? Here's to hoping that Pelinka has something up his sleeve, because at this moment, this roster has a lot of problems, with some of its biggest problems being wing depth and shooting. According to Kirk Goldsberry, in LA's first 2 games this season, they shot 24 out of 101 on jump shots. Guys, that's 24% on jump shots. We are not talking about 3-pointers here. We are talking about jump shots. In their first 2 games, when it comes to jump shooting, Bron is 6 of 22. Lonnie Walker is 3 of 14, AD is 2 of 12, Pat Bev is 2 of 11, and Russ is also 2 of 11. Honestly, it's impressive that this team is even able to be competitive shooting the basketball like that. The Lakers' lack of jump shooting has them trying to find shooters any way possible. Their lack of jump shooting has led to them playing Matt Ryan rotational minutes this early in the season. Which, by the way, huge shout out to Matt Ryan. His story is phenomenal. This guy was driving DoorDash and working at a cemetery a year ago. And now he's not only on, but he's playing for one of the most storied franchises in the association. That's different. Imagine going from a 9-to-5 or any type of regular job to the NBA. That's like some NBA 2K My Career stuff. Which, by the way, the storyline is kind of corny, but you guys didn't hear that from me. To get back to talking about the Lakers shooting, after their first loss to the Warriors, LeBron James would say this.
To be completely honest, we're not a team that's constructed of great shooting. And that's just the truth of the matter is, it's not like, we're sitting here with a lot of lasers on our team. So, but that doesn't deter us from still trying to get great shots, and when we get those opportunities, you take them. But we're not sitting here with a bunch of 40-plus career 3-point shooting guys.
If you have to be completely honest, we're not a team that's constructed of great shooting. He'd follow that statement up in their second loss by saying, our ball club is our ball club. I'm not going to harp on what we can't do every single day. I really wish I could understand what Pelinka was going for with this roster. Building around LeBron James doesn't have to be hard. He still gets into the paint when he wants, he's a high-level slasher, and he still garners a lot of attention. On top of that, he's one of the best playmakers in the league. Why would you not want shooting around him? It's like Pelinka has been hiding under a rock for the last decade or so. Shooting is the great equalizer in the NBA, and really just in basketball, period. If I was constructing a high school team, I would focus on defense, shot selection, and shooting the basketball. Shooting is the reason that a team like the 36ers can beat the Suns. Now, I know that it was a preseason game and the Suns weren't playing with their maximum effort, but my point remains the same. If you have a guy like Craig Randall hitting shots from the parking lot on you, then that's going to make even a mediocre team by your standards that much harder to defend. Now, when it comes to a Russell Westbrook trade, we actually have some interesting updates. According to Woj, he expects that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers will wait until post-Thanksgiving, 20 games into the season, to see what teams may start pivoting. Essentially, what he's trying to say is that teams that don't start off well will be potential trade partners for the Los Angeles Lakers. As I've said multiple times, this is the Victor Wembanyama draft. Teams that don't start off well are going to turn into sellers. And honestly, teams may turn into sellers earlier than that if they start winning too many games. Yeah, Danny Ainge, I'm talking about you. Not exclusively, of course, but you're one of the guys that I had in mind when I said that. Guys, in the comments below, let me know your thoughts on this entire situation, and also let me know the best Russell Westbrook trade that you could cook up to fix the Los Angeles Lakers. I like to emphasize that it's way too early to start acting like the Lakers season is over or anything like that. If AD starts dominating and the role players step up, anything is possible. We already know Bron's going to be Bron, which at his age is ridiculous. I can't believe he still has to do this for the Lakers to be good. Anyways, guys, clicking the video on the screen right now is a great way to support my channel. I'm GetLikeCoop, bringing you guys the scoop. Until our next upload.